Chelsey.
And I'm Sammy, and this is Deepish. Hi, you guys.
Hi, guys. I'm so excited. We have the amazing Karli Sine on the podcast today, and I am obsessed with her. I think she's amazing.
Yeah, she just dropped knowledge on all things GLP1, weight loss, health, fitness.
I loved sitting down with her, hearing her whole journey story. I feel like so many people are curious about GLP-1, and she is the expert of it all.
Yeah, I was personally asking her questions like, what if this? What if that? She answers all the questions you have regarding GLP-1.
Literally, cost, what are some tips, tricks? And she personally has lost 55 pounds on GLP-1 and is really helping people along their journey.
And has made a whole career out of it. Mm-hmm. Like, she's so inspiring. And also, it's funny because we brought her on because we followed her and we thought she would be such an interesting guest to bring on the podcast. I was like, this is great. She'll come on the podcast, talk about GLP-1s and weight loss and things. But even just her starting to open up and share about her story, just getting to know her a little bit, I'm like, whoa, we could have talked about 5 million other things because she has such an interesting background and story. Mm-hmm. So I just love getting to know her more. She's so cute.
Totally. Everyone needs to go follow her.
Yeah, go follow her on Instagram, Karli, Karli.Sine, S-I-N-E. Her freaking posts are so inspiring. And if you're interested in doing a GLP-1, hit her up because she can tell you everything and can get you a good price and all the things. So if you're interested in doing GLP-1s or hormone balance or weight loss or anything like that, she shares a lot of good little nuggets in this episode, and I think you guys will really enjoy it.
Here is Karli. Karli, welcome to Deepish.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm ready to chat. It's going to be good.
Good. So I want to know a little bit of your background. Where are you from?
I'm from Utah. I grew up in Sandy. I went to Hillcrest. And
okay. What year did you graduate?
I graduated in 2010.
2010. I don't know Hillcrest a lot. Did you know anyone?
No.
Sandy area, because we're Utah County.
Yeah, I grew up over there. I was right on the border of Brighton, Hillcrest. So
okay, so I live in Cottonwood Heights now.
Oh yeah,
and my kids are supposed to go to Brighton, and I don't know anything about the schools up north, and so I've been asking everyone. I want to know your opinion. Brighton, the stigma I've gotten is rich ski bums.
Yeah, it's like kind of how it's always been. And then Hillcrest was always like, oh, it's not the best. But now if you go to Hillcrest, you're like, wow, this is a really nice school. But they all got rebuilt. They're so nice.
Mm-hmm. Just stayed around the same area.
I've lived in the Salt Lake Valley, seriously, in all the cities I've lived. And then after high school, I went to Utah State for a while.
I went there too. Go Aggies.
Oh, yes. And I was only up there for a short time. Then I came back down here and did hair school. So I went to cosmetology school at Taylor Andrews. And that was just a little stint of my life. And I've been doing hair for the last 15 years.
Okay. How was that? Have you enjoyed that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I love my clients. I love doing hair, but it's a lot of work. It's back-breaking. Literally, your back hurts so bad, but it's so fun. And then my mom went into weddings. So then I did calligraphy for a while. I was a full-time calligraphist for 6 years.
That's amazing.
I love that. I took a calligraphy class at UVU. Yeah. It was just the adult classes.
Yeah.
Obsessed for 2 weeks. And then I was like, I suck. Click bye.
It was when the chalkboard art got really popular. Mm-hmm. And I was doing that mainly for all of her brides. And then after 6 years, people were like, oh, my neighbor can do it. She can write it. And then my business just slowly kind of dwindled away. But I did the envelopes and everything. It was really fun.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's so fun.
While I was doing hair.
Okay, so you're doing simultaneously. I was doing both. So back up. You start hair school. Are you meeting your husband at this point? Or
yeah, so I actually was married previously.
Okay.
So I married my first husband right when I was in college. And then I went to hair school right after that. And we were married for a short time. And then after my divorce, I just kept doing hair, and that was just what I was doing for a while. That was a short little glimpse of a weird little phase of my life where I learned a lot about myself.
Were you guys high school sweethearts? You met in college?
No, I met him at the very end of my senior year.
Then married, and it just wasn't the vibes, or what?
Yeah, it wasn't right. Learned a lot about ourselves. We weren't right for each other, but
how old were you at that point? Were you pretty young when you guys got married?
Yeah, I got engaged at 19, and then I can't remember. I think I was 19.
That's what's so crazy, especially around here. You get married so young. Yeah. You don't really know who you are yet. And it's just like, oh, yeah, we like each other. Yeah. Let's do this. And then you get married, and there's so many factors that go into it.
I was like, it's lifelong, all of that. it's a feeling. It's an answer to my prayer. And in the end, I was so young. My mom was like, you are going to college. You're going. You're not just going to get married immediately. And I'm so glad she did that, because even though I did end up marrying him, I still had that little bit. And then after my divorce, I went back to Utah State for another semester. And then I was like, what am I doing? I'm already doing hair. I can go do hair back in Salt Lake City. So
when did you meet your current husband?
So then after my first marriage, I actually served a mission after I was married.
Wow.
And yeah.
You've lived a lot of life already this little bit. I'm like, whoa.
I know. I have a lot of story. But when I served my mission, I went to Toronto, Canada. And that's a whole other story for another time. But I was out for about 9 months. And then I came home, and I was home for about a year just dating. And then I matched up with my husband on Tinder. He had just come back from basic training with the military. And so then we just immediately, it was so different from my first husband. We just were like, oh, this is
Yeah, do you
right.
feel like after your first marriage, were you like, I know what I want and what I don't want? Or was it like, I just need to find out about myself now?
Yes, I wanted to find out about myself, but I think I just knew it was just so not what I was in line with the first time, that once I was dating multiple people, because I dated so many people in that year time, that I was just like, I don't have time to waste my time.
Yep.
I didn't want to waste my time anymore. And I remember on some of my dates, I would be getting ready to get picked up. And I was like, I am wasting this guy's time and my time. And I would cancel literally 30 minutes before the date.
No.
And it's so sad and crappy. That was not cool of me. But at the same time, I'm like, I already know. I just need to not drag people on.
Well, I think after getting out of a legit marriage, you're like,
yeah.
I'm not here to just go on these random dates.
Yeah, no, it's just not fun anymore. You're like, I need to find my person. And so when I met my husband, I was getting off of Tinder that day. I was like, I'm done. I can't do
So what
this.
was your experience like in dating? Were you doing a lot of the apps?
Oh, yeah. At that time, it was 2015, 2016. It was just Tinder, and Bumble had just started, but I never even got on that. And I was just over it. I was just so sick of it. And I had told my mom, I'm done. I'm getting off of Tinder today. And then he had texted me, and I was like, okay, what's one more guy? He had asked me on a date. And then from that day on, he was like, I think I'm going to cancel my other dates. And I was like, me too. And so then it just went on.
What was something about your husband that stood out to you versus your first marriage about him?
I guess our first date, he was not what I expect. He was really calm. Not that my first husband wasn't. He just was a very, oh gosh, I feel like I'm going to get emotional.
Sorry. You're good.
I think just coming from something where I didn't feel very secure in it or protected, which I've never really talked much about my first marriage, but I didn't feel very secure in that marriage. And right off the bat, my husband now was just like, I will protect you. I will do whatever I can to be there for you. And I never really got that in my first one. So that from the very first time we went on our date, I was just like, wow, this guy is something different. And he is.
So what do you mean by secure? Secure in your self-worth, or secure in you'll be by my side and protect me?
I guess both, but more so like you'll be by my side and protect me. I felt like I was kind of alone in my first marriage. We really butt heads. And right from the get-go with Isaac, it's just been, he's like,
Partners.
we are together. This is a team. Yeah.
Like he had an instant calming energy.
Oh, if
is
you
peace.
walked in here, you guys would be like, oh, I get
You'd
it.
feel it.
Yes,
Yeah.
totally.
Aw, I love that.
love that. So then how long did you guys date before you got married?
Not long at all. We were engaged after 2.5 months, a typical Utah story. And then we were married 2.5 months later. And then I actually was pregnant 3 months later, but I had an IUD, and I had had my IUD for 2 years.
Oh,
Wow.
my
And
gosh.
So that was shocking that I got pregnant.
So what do they do if you have an IUD while you're pregnant? Do they take it out, or do they just leave it in?
Well, we were at a movie, and I was like, oh, something weird. I just felt weird. And when I stood up, there was blood on my seat. And so we left the movie and went to the emergency room because I had had it for 2 years. I didn't have a period.
Was that a hormonal IUD?
Yeah.
So it made it
was
so you
the
didn't
Mirena.
have a period. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have a period. So I hadn't bled for like 2 years.
Yeah.
So we went to the hospital, and when we were there, they were like, everything looks perfect. Nothing looks wrong. And I'm like, No.
Like, I'm bleeding.
Yeah,
I
like-
have my IUD. I've had it for 2 years.
Yes.
Like, something's up.
Yeah. And so then the next day I went and met up with my OB, and she was like, honestly, it's up to you. It looks like it's in a good spot. And I had told my husband, I feel like I'm miscarrying, because why would that be happening? And so I just said to her, I was like, I don't know. I just want to take it out. I feel weird that I was bleeding. And so she took it out, and less than 7 days later, I had a positive pregnancy test. So I was pregnant when I had it in.
Is that harmful at all for the baby?
So she had said, I'm glad nothing happened when we took it out, because it was obviously implanted, but luckily nothing happened. So it
like,
was,
baby needed to be here.
yes, he did.
Oh my god.
I know. So it was kind of crazy. Within the first year of us meeting, we were engaged, married, and had a baby. It was just a lot. Really
So what were your
fast.
guys' emotions regarding that pregnancy? Were you obviously happy but unplanned? So
Oh yeah,
How'd
it
you
was
feel?
shocking. We
Yeah.
were just like, what is happening? And it was one of those things where I was kind of sad, because with my first marriage, I had 1.5 years. I didn't have kids with my first marriage. And so we had lived this 1.5 year life of no kids. And with my husband now, we didn't have that. It was just,
Boom, boom, boom.
yeah, it was so quick, and we weren't planning on having kids so fast. And then
how old were you at that point?
so I got married when I was 24, and I had him when I was 25.
Okay.
Yeah. And then right after I had him, we just knocked out the rest of our kids.
You're just like, let's crank them out.
Yeah. And they're all really close. My closest sibling to me is 8 years older than me. And we're close now, but all growing up, I was like an only child.
Totally.
And so I always was like, I just want my kids really close together. And so we have 4 little boys now that we just got them all really close, and it's just the best ever.
What are
Yeah.
their age gaps?
7, 5, 3, and 2.
Oh, I feel like those age gaps are perfect.
They're 2 years apart. My last 2 are 16 months.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
But also so fun for them. So I have 3 boys.
Oh,
and
yeah.
my first 2 were 22 months apart. And that was brutal for me. I was like, whoa. My first was still a baby, and I didn't realize. And then my last baby, they're 3.5 years. And I'm like, this is everything.
Oh, you love it?
For me, I love it because I'm just like, this is so easy. The older 2 just play and can take care of themselves. And
Yeah.
then I can just focus on my baby. And that's
See,
not my experience.
And that's how I feel with our age gap now, because it's the older 2 are best friends, and then the younger 2 are best friends, and they all just go and play together.
I
and
know,
it's
but
the
don't make
best.
me feel sad because I'm done. And the last one is just going to be on its own. But the older 2 baby him so hard.
Oh, they'll all be besties.
Were you happy about all boys? I know I love being a boy mom so much.
I love it. And we have talked about having a 5th, and we were
Really?
back and forth for so long, but we've decided that we're probably done. And it's been really hard to admit it to myself.
Totally. Because it feels like
I
a
love
lot.
it. I have natural births, and I just love it. Like, I crave giving birth.
Wow. That's
Wow.
amazing.
Okay. Psycho.
I don't know, really, though.
I just love
Like
pain.
the pain.
I do. Yeah. No, I actually, I had an epidural, and then it hit my spinal fluid.
Nope.
And they didn't fix it for like a week. So I couldn't even sit up. I was laying down for like a week.
That's
Finally got it
horrible.
fixed. And when I left the hospital that day, I was like, I will never get an epidural again. So my second, I had him in the hospital without an epidural. But I was so stressed that they were going to give me an epidural that the whole time I was in there, I'm literally about to push him out. And I'm like, do not let them give me an epidural. And Isaac's like, Karli, the baby is coming out.
The head is out.
Yeah.
You're fine.
He's waving at you. Chill.
Literally. And so then after that, I was like, I don't think I'm going to go back into a hospital. And then super on the other end, I ended up having 2 unassisted home births. So it was just my husband and my mom there.
Wow.
When I had my other 2. Yeah.
Did you hire a midwife or anything?
No, unassisted. So just us there.
Yeah.
It was so great. I loved it so much.
How did you prepare for that? Did you have to do trainings or research?
Yes.
Or
Oh, so much research. There's a book, Home Birth on Your Own Terms. It's an amazing book, and she goes into every detail. She's a midwife that basically prepares people who want to do an unassisted birth. And then I went on and did a placenta training to see how to look at my placenta and all of it. I did all of it. And then I helped prepare my mom and my husband. So I kind of was just like, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm throwing this on you.
What were
the
their
doctor and you're my
reactions?
assistant.
Were they down for it? Or
Oh,
were they
at
like,
first,
"Wait."
no. My husband was like, I don't think that this is,
I don't know
not
about
the
this.
plan. And then he ended up catching our third, and he was fully there for catching our third. And then I caught my fourth. So it was so great.
So beautiful. Did you have anyone film or anything?
Oh, yeah. We had a videographer there. And she had been at a lot of births too. So she was, okay, let's move. So she definitely wasn't a midwife at all, but she was helping just
Okay, now this.
my husband and my mom. Yeah, she was helping, but it was so great. So yeah, I love giving birth. And I think not having a fifth baby has been really hard to accept. But then we went to Disneyland just barely and we were like, we're done.
You have these moments for sure where you feel complete and you have those confirmations, but it still doesn't make it less hard because you're just like, oh, is this really it?
Yeah, it's sad. It's a whole different chapter that you're saying goodbye to and that you're saying hello to. It's hard.
Yeah. So getting married and then having 4 kids right in a row, how do you feel like your relationship handled that? Was it just getting to know each other, growing throughout that process? Or were there times where it's like, this is kind of hard that we didn't build a strong time alone foundation before parenthood?
Yeah, it's interesting because you don't have that time before to grow that relationship as a couple, and you're growing as we're literally becoming a couple while I'm pregnant. I was so pregnant and tired and sick, and it's not how you expect the first year. But again, Isaac's amazing, and he's just like, I'll just roll with it and like we'll figure it out. And I just think together we've learned throughout the whole parenting process, and looking back at who I was then and who he was then, we are so different now, and we've just grown together in our marriage.
Yeah, that's what's so beautiful. Even with me and my husband, we dated for 4 years before we got married. And it's crazy because you think you know each other so perfectly and you've gone through so much together, but then you add this other layer of parenthood and growth, and it's beautiful because you're constantly changing, both of you. And so if you can get to know each other every day.
Yeah, and you're learning together as your kids get older and all of that.
So how do you feel like throughout this process, kind of transitioning into self-image, your body, 4 kids, how do you feel like your relationship was with self-image at this point?
So I didn't really talk about this before, but I do have PCOS and insulin resistance. And that was actually the reason why I got on an IUD, is because that was what my OB was.
So you
like.
had known that you...
Yes.
That's interesting. I feel like now PCOS is thrown out more, but 10, 12 years ago, doctors weren't really diagnosing PCOS as much.
Yeah, it's in my family. So my other family members, I was very aware of it. But I had other hormonal symptoms, like I have facial hair, and there were just obvious things that a little girl shouldn't be experiencing. So when I went to the doctor, my OB, when I was younger, she was like, yeah, you definitely have PCOS. And there's not much answer for what is happening to our body. And so she's just like, yeah, let's put you on birth control. And even that doesn't help. And there are 4 different kinds of PCOS, and all 4 interchange so much. Someone could have 2 or 3 or different 2 together. There's so many different kinds. A lot of women don't even know that they have PCOS.
Sammy and I both have PCOS.
Do you? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a lot of women don't know. And it's hard because it's one of those things that one girl who has PCOS could have a really, really hard time getting pregnant. And then there's me, where I'm over ovulating and my body is making too many eggs and dropping too many eggs, and I'm getting pregnant too fast. So 3 of my 4 kids were not planned, and I was way out of my ovulation window, and it was like a one-time crazy thing. And that's not a common PCOS story, but wow, I struggle with all the other hormonal sides of it that have just burdened me in my whole life. But as far as self-image, yeah, I have always been so aware.
How did you learn about PCOS? And you're like, there's 4 different types, stuff like that. Because I am so lost. It's been thrown out a handful of times, and the doctors will do different blood tests or this or symptoms. And I'm like, okay, but what does that mean? What do I do?
A lot of the time, PCOS in general is just an insulin issue. That's really what it comes down to. But me learning about it was that I just knew my family members had it. And then it was actually a girl that told me, she was like, you probably over ovulate. And I was like, what? Because it was when I had accidentally gotten pregnant. And that is a whole stress in itself. Oh my gosh, it just causes a whole worry that I didn't know I had. So when I started really digging into that, I was like, oh, there's 4 different kinds. And I actually talk about that on I have a highlight in my Instagram kind of going over the 4, which it's really easy to look at them and you can be like, oh, that absolutely sounds like me. And then you could be like, no, that one doesn't sound like me at all. I struggle with all 4 of them. Maybe not always. I don't know if that's even true. That would be me self-diagnosing, but you can really just get on and read about the 4 different kinds. Ask chat. I love ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah.
Get on chat and just ask about it. That's something I would suggest.
Feels sometimes like water slipping through your hands where there's nothing to grab onto. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, I have this issue. And they're like, okay. And I feel bad for these doctors too that don't really know what to do.
I know.
And so for me, I never have periods, but then I was able to get pregnant, but then my hormones are off. What is going on?
It's a hormonal issue. And that is, I know we haven't even talked about GLP-1s yet, but that is a huge part of the GLP-1 world, is that it's helping so many women who have PCOS regulate periods. It's helping people get pregnant. It's amazing. So yeah, self-image, I think growing up for me, it was something that was just a very quiet battle. I think everyone struggles with that. But always in my eyes, I was always the heavier friend. I was always the taller friend that was bigger. Like I couldn't dress the way my friends dressed. I never really thought that it was going to affect me that much. I always kind of like embraced it. Like whatever, that's who I am. I'm big boned. That's what I always told myself. I'm just big boned. And looking back, it's just really sad to remember the feelings that I would have in certain outfits or in certain moments, or even on my wedding day. I was just so mad at myself that I wasn't able to drop the weight, and I was eating nothing and I couldn't lose the weight. And self-image, it lasts so long, even through just those kind of memories. Looking back at my wedding day, that's so sad. I don't want to think that way about myself, but it is something that I struggled with my whole life, and I would just chalk it up to being big boned, and I would just live with it forever. And after having my kids too, that term bouncing back, that was horrible. Whenever I heard someone say like, if you don't bounce back within 6 months, I was like, what are you saying? I am not going to do that to myself. I can't even lose weight before having kids. Wow. That is pressure on myself. And then I wouldn't lose it. And then I'd get pregnant again. And then I couldn't lose it again. And I could get pregnant again. And I'm just like, well, this is who I am. I guess I'm just going to live on my life in this heavier body that I feel so uncomfortable in. And then I ended up figuring it out, thankfully.
So all growing up and like within high school, college, getting married, do you feel like you had certain patterns, things you would try, or did you become obsessive over what you were eating or exercising and then give up? What was your relationship with food and exercise at that point?
I feel like my relationship with food was very strange. I knew that if I ate almost nothing, I could still potentially gain weight. Even if I only ate salads every single day with the lowest calories, people will say calories in, calories out. If you're in a calorie deficit, you will lose the weight. That is not the case for insulin resistant. It is not. For insulin resistant people, you could still potentially have insulin spikes and gain that weight. And I struggled with it. So I would go on these diets, like really intense crash diets, those broth diets and horrible things that I would look up to try and do for myself that I would just do in private. And then nothing would come from it. And I would just be like, well, again, here I am. This is, I guess, the body I'm just supposed to be in. And even when I would go to the gym and work out, I remember just being like, this is such a waste of time. I might be building muscle, and technically muscle burns fat, but my fat has never budged. I don't know how to lose the weight. And in the times of my life that I was truly more thin, it was an unhealthy way. Like I was not eating anything. My body was literally burning the fat to survive. I definitely didn't have an eating disorder, but I would cut back so much to the point where it's very unhealthy.
Because you felt like you had to be so extreme.
Oh, so extreme. My body wouldn't respond to anything. Mm-hmm. And I did get obsessive about some of the measuring for a while. I was like, oh, if I measure everything perfectly, I won't gain. And then I would gain weight. And I remember staring myself in the mirror and being like, why am I broken? I literally have a broken body that cannot get rid of this weight. And I don't know how to fix myself. It was just such a hard time. And that was my whole life. Like my entire life. It was like that.
I relate to that so much. I feel like that was me. And growing up too, you're having to think about this while all of your skinny friends in high school are just enjoying themselves and having fun.
Oh yeah.
Where
and
you're like,
cake
no,
and pizza.
you're at a bonfire or something and you're like, no, I can't have a s'more because I need to lose weight. And then they're just these skinny little biatches who are, it feels like you drew an unlucky card. It's not for lack of effort. Your body is doing this and you don't know why.
Yeah, totally. And then I would get to this point of being like, well, screw it. If I'm going to be heavy and gain weight, then I'll just eat whatever I want. And then that was a completely different form of, I'm going to sit here and eat a whole bag of chips because it could be a whole bag of lettuce and it doesn't matter. My body's not going to react the same way, which was obviously an unhealthy way of thinking in itself. But I would go the complete opposite direction and just be like, whatever. As I'm eating, I'm like, whatever, I'm fat. Like, it doesn't matter. I'll just eat this entire plate. And that's the other thing too, is that food noise never turns off. I would just be thinking about snacks. I would be thinking about what my next meal was. I would be able to finish my whole meal. And I could have even eaten some of my friends' food. I remember looking at their plates being like, how did they not eat that whole thing? How can they stop themselves from eating? Because I could just keep eating. I don't know what that is.
Well,
but
and when your blood sugar is so out of whack with PCOS, your cravings and all of these things, or you feel sick if you don't eat.
Oh, yeah.
It's so hard to manage.
Yeah. It's so hard to describe to someone who's never experienced it. It's so hard.
My husband can eat a granola bar for dinner and be totally fine. And I'm just like, you don't understand it. I will feel sick or whatever if I don't eat. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard.
So during pregnancy, was it kind of a mental break a little bit of I'm going to relinquish control because I can't really control how my body's changing? How did you feel during your pregnancy with all of that?
I felt like with my pregnancies, I kind of was in the state of I'm going to eat whatever because I was sick. So I would eat what I could eat when I was sick. And then I just would eat however I wanted. I didn't necessarily, I wouldn't say I binged, but I wasn't on some strict kind of diet. I did just let myself go, I guess, but it was just more so out of kind of relief. Like, man, I don't have to be this skinny person. I'm growing a baby, you know?
Were you like confident when you were pregnant?
No. And that's interesting. I look back at some of my pictures. I remember just feeling so sad at the extra weight I was holding while being pregnant. And then someone else who was skinny at that same stage of pregnancy, I'm just like, oh, why don't I look like that? Why have I never had a body that looks like that? And it's crazy because I don't think I actually realized how much I was so focused on my body, but I was so uncomfortable in it every day, even just sitting, even if I had a shirt on that just was a little bit too snug. I was so aware of my body at all times. And then again, that food noise is going on in the background. It's like, well, why am I thinking about food right now? It's just this nonstop cycle.
Controlling your life.
Yes. It's so controlling and it's horrible. It's hard to explain.
Did you start your health journey after you had your fourth?
Yeah, I had heard about semaglutide from a friend. She was like, you should look into this. And she and I aren't even super close. We went to high school together, but we were chatting on Instagram and I was like, I do not know what that is. And then when I looked it up, the very first thing that came up was the Kardashian drug. And I was like, what is this? And so I went to my doctor, my primary care. I was so nervous. I remember being like, I have never asked my doctor for help with my weight. And I remember I was physically shaking. And I sat down in front of him and I was like, I don't know if you've heard of this, but have you ever heard of semaglutide? And he was kind of like, oh yeah, I've heard of it. People have talked about it. And I had done enough research on it. I'm a big researcher. I dig and dig. And I was really comfortable with it. And I was like, I could do this for myself, but I'm not going to tell a soul. I'm not going to tell one person that I've ever taken this.
We'd love that.
Yes. And so then he gave me the prescription and I actually couldn't get the prescription filled for like 3 months because no one was filling it. I couldn't get my hands on it.
Because it was just so popular or what?
I don't know. I just couldn't get it.
How long ago was this?
This was at the beginning of 2023.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had just had my fourth. So I went to go get my prescription right after I had him because I don't breastfeed very long. I don't breastfeed my kids. My PCOS, I don't have milk very long. So I just feed as long as I can, and then my milk just goes away. So I knew that was going to happen. And I was like, I'm going to go get the prescription so I have it as soon as my milk is gone. And right when my milk dried up, I was able to finally get it filled.
So what was your mentality right after you had your kid? Were you on a mission? Like, I'm going to get fit?
No.
Because what made you be so proactive about getting this? It was just your friend had told you about this magic drug you did research on, and you were like, okay, this could actually really help me.
That's exactly what happened. I mean, I was so uncomfortable even just standing next to my husband. My husband's he's just very fit, big, husky guy. And I always felt like we never matched. We do. I look back, we match. It's fine. It was just a mental game, especially gaining weight after 4 kids. I was like, I am not who he married. And he only got to be with me for 3 months before I changed. And so I guess I was kind of on a mission to figure out what was going on. But my friend that I had reached out to, she had lost a bunch of weight. So I was like, is it just a workout program?
Okay, so you reached out to her asking, what have you done to lose weight?
Yeah.
And she recommended that.
Yeah,
Okay.
she recommended that, but I don't even remember if she really took it. I think she did do a workout program, and she said, have you heard of this? But maybe she had. I actually should go back and ask her. But
at this point, when you were doing research on the semaglutide, was there a bunch of information on how it was helping PCOS, or has that developed as more people have taken it?
it's developed since.
Because now it helps with, like you said, infertility, hormone balance, and autoimmune diseases. But at that time, it was kind of just for weight loss. You weren't like, this is going to cure my PCOS.
Yes, it had just been released for weight loss for like a year, maybe.
Okay.
Because it's been around for decades. People have been taking this for a really long time. But yeah, it was just for weight loss at the time. And anything I could find online were just the name brand. So I was a little nervous about the compounded. And it's funny that I even thought that now because I just understand it all more. But it was just such a foreign idea to inject something into me. And I had one time been on testosterone, and it was not a great experience for me. And I was doing injections. And so I was like, this is going to be the same thing. It's going to be so bad. So I got it. And I had 2 other friends that had also got a prescription for it. And so we kind of started at the same time. And we were just our little support system. And we were really only talking to each other about it.
At that point, was insurance covering it, or
No.
are you paying out of pocket for it? Was it expensive?
Yeah, I was paying out of pocket from day one. We have military insurance, and I was like, oh, they're going to cover it for sure. No. And I had a rap sheet. I had bad A1C, I was PCOS, insulin resistant. I was in the obese category. I don't know why they didn't say that.
Because this was at the time where they were like, oh, don't take Ozempic. Like, you're stealing from the diabetic.
Oh
and
my
the,
gosh, yeah.
You know, the drama behind it. But now
Yes.
it's totally normalized.
Yeah.
So you knew it was an investment. Because what? It's like $200 a
Yeah,
shot.
for,
Or how
for
was it?
semaglutide, and you can get it from different providers.
Yeah.
Where I get it from, semaglutide's $299 a month, and
Okay.
then tirzepatide is more. It's $449 a month because it works a little better and doesn't have as many side effects.
Okay, got
Yeah.
it. Okay, so then
It is an investment, definitely.
yeah, it's an investment. But then you kind of factor in girl math. You're like,
Yeah.
well, I'm eating out less trips to Chick-fil-A.
Definitely. Yeah. Less swig trips. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's so
and
crazy.
how much it changes your life. It's
Yes.
like I would pay double that to
Yes.
feel the way you feel, you know?
I remember when I told my husband, it was $350, the first one I got. And he was like, are you kidding me?
No.
For this? No, we're not going to do that. And I was just like, I don't care. I will do anything to just try this. What if it works for me? And right off the bat, I was a quick responder. A lot of people can take up to 3 months to start to see
Yeah.
any kind of weight loss, which is common. That's really common. And I actually sometimes feel bad telling people I lost weight really quick because it's normal for it to, you need to ramp up the dose to get up to the
So were you
dosing for your body.
starting on a high dose, or
No.
you were like ramping up and still just dropping weight?
Yeah. So some people respond quick, even to the really low doses. There's so many factors that go into that. Your diet, how much water you're drinking, if you're working out or not, just your metabolic state. Do you have insulin resistance? Do you have PCOS? There's so many factors, but I had lost 6 pounds in my first week, and I was like, that's not real. I literally didn't believe it. I was like, I don't think that actually happened.
Were you kind of excited though?
Oh,
Like,
yeah. I was so excited. And I remember I hadn't told my mom. I hadn't told anyone. But I did tell my mom I lost the weight. So then she was like, what are you doing? And I was like,
Hard work, exercise, and diet.
just some dieting.
How did you feel after you took your first shot? Were you like, whoa, I feel like I'm going to throw up, or just the food noise was quieted? How did it feel?
My first shot, I had nothing happen. I didn't feel any sort of way. I just felt normal, and I was like, okay, here we go. And then my second shot did me in. I was so sick, and oh my gosh, it was just horrible. I will say though, this was the whole reason why I even started sharing my journey, was because I didn't have any guidance. At this point, I had called my doctor and I was like, hey, I just have some questions. I'm having some bad reactions. I don't know if this is normal. And he was like, I've heard that it's normal, but to be honest, I don't know much about these. And I was like, you're my doctor.
It's a little scary.
I'm coming to you to help me. And so when he didn't have any answers, I was like, okay, I got to figure out a way to know how to go about this. And really, truly, it was trial and error. I had no direction. And I remember my second week, I was still eating the way I was eating before. I was eating large amounts of food. I wasn't drinking very much water. I was just kind of eating crappy foods the way I was eating before. And even if they were healthy, like a salad, I would eat the entire salad gone. It just was large amounts of food. I will never forget the day I was eating Zao, and I had maybe eaten like a quarter of it, and I felt full. And I was like, there's no way. I've never felt full with this amount of food that I've eaten. And so I forced myself to keep eating because that's just what I know. I finished my food. And I had maybe 2 or 3 more bites, and I was like, I am going to throw up. I am so sick. And so I had put the food to the side. And I remember I was driving, because I ate in my car. I was driving home, and I like looked over at my food, and I was like, did that actually work? Like, am I not going to eat the rest of that? I was like, that's so crazy. And then I figured out if I just would listen to my stomach when it was actually full, I wouldn't feel sick anymore. And then that was when I really dug in on how does this medication work? And I went into the whole water world of the water is the answer.
So what about the water? I know you mentioned that a couple times. Does it just making sure you're drinking enough water?
Oh yeah. I can almost promise that whoever is on this is not drinking enough water. Everyone.
Because you feel nauseous, and then how are you supposed to drink all this water?
Yeah. So I actually, at the very beginning of my journey, I saw a doctor online that said, just trust me, if you feel nauseous, go chug some water. And I remember at one point I was so sick. I was feeling so nauseous, and I was like, I'm going to force myself. And I did. I chugged some water, and I was like, oh my gosh, it worked. And it's because your gastric system is slowing down, and you are digesting your food slower. So like phentermine is tricking your brain into thinking that you're full. You are actually starving yourself, but you're just not hungry. And what this is doing is you're eating your food, and it's just digesting slower so that you're not having insulin spikes that are going to make you store that weight, and then regulating your blood sugar also. But what can happen is that a lot of people will have less stomach acid in their stomach, and it can actually make you feel really sick if you overeat and you have not much stomach acid in there, and then you get those sulfur burps. Have you ever? Yeah.
The worst.
They're so nasty. And so that is a really big part of the water thing too. It just helps ease your stomach. And then I've had people say, you told me to drink water when I was nauseous and I threw it up. And I'm like, okay, I threw up some food too. In the middle of that adjustment phase, when that's getting your body regulated, it is rough. And I definitely had thrown up a few times, but it ends up mellowing out once you figure out your eating, figure out your water, get the protein in, get the fiber in, you are set. And that was what I didn't know. And that was why I was so sick in the beginning.
Was there ever a point that you were like, I'm too sick, I have to get off of this?
Oh, 100%. I remember I was probably on week 4 or 5, and I had called my mom. At this point, I'd finally told my mom because I needed help with my kids. And
because you were so sick.
I was so sick. And I called her and I was like, I'm coming over with my kids. I need your help. And I remember she was like, this is not worth it. I'm like, don't do this anymore to yourself. And at this point, I had lost 15 pounds or 16 pounds in my first month. And I was like, I don't remember the last time I lost any weight. And so I knew that I wasn't starving myself. I knew that I wasn't just throwing up the food and not getting any nourishment, because I was. But I told myself, Karli, your body has been broken for so long. This is a detox. You are getting your body to a regular state, and it is not going to be comfy for a minute. And I knew that there was a light at the end of the tunnel from the very few people that were talking about it online. And I just held out and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to even lessen my dose, because I remember I was dosing up in a couple weeks and I was so nervous. So many people say they get so nervous, like, I'm so sick, I don't want to dose up. And it is recommended if you're losing weight to stay on a lower dose. But I was just following the weight loss program. So when I dosed up, I remember being so nervous. And then it was a week later, maybe 2 weeks later, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm regular now. My body finally had adjusted to it. And it just took time, but it is rough in the beginning and it's hard. And taking care of kids, it's hard.
So do you feel like that happens for everyone, that they're going to be sick for a while?
No, and definitely depending on which medication you're on. Semaglutide is just the GLP1. Tirzepatide is a GLP1 GIP, and the GIP can actually really help with the nausea. It's more of a brain peptide that can help with that. And it can also help with more quieting the food noise. But there are people who are on semaglutide that are like, I've never been sick. And there are people who are on tirzepatide and they're like, I've never been sick. So it's just truly an individual experience. We are all different bodies, different metabolic state, different intake of food.
So if someone's tried it and it's made them sick, would you recommend pushing past that?
Oh yeah. Almost everyone will have an adjustment phase. Always. You are adjusting your body, your blood sugars getting regular, and it's just a little icky. I know a lot of doctors that I listen to, they talk about microdosing, and microdosing is amazing too, especially if you're under a BMI for the weight loss program. But even microdosing, people can feel really sick on it. And then one day you're like, I feel so much better.
Have you tried different injection sites to help with the nausea, the arm or the leg or the stomach or whatever?
I started in my stomach for the first 2 to 3 weeks. And that was when I was the most sick. Week 2, 3, and 4 was when I did my stomach. And I saw somewhere that your thigh could help it. And I was like, oh, I'll try it out. And that next week, I was still a little bit sick, but it was so much better. I've actually never injected in my arm. I've just alternated my thighs every week.
What are a handful of things you would recommend, like someone starting a GLP-1 that you wish you would have done?
Oh, okay.
You're like,
She's
okay,
like,
let
everyone's
me get
seated.
All
Let's go.
right. If I could tell anyone starting a GLP-1, I would tell them, do not overeat. I know I already kind of mentioned that, but do not overeat. If you feel full, stop eating. Even if it's so foreign, just stop. Do not eat late. That's another thing that a lot of people don't realize that they are doing to themselves, is that they will eat late because they're used to eating late and snacking late. So they're like, it's fine, I'll just eat a late dinner. I haven't been hungry all day. It's a whole new world of, oh, I'll just eat dinner now. You eat dinner late and then your stomach is digesting so much slower. It's just sitting in your stomach while you're sleeping. And then you wake up and you feel nauseous. And I called it the stomach gurgles. A lot of people will wake up nauseous, and it's because they're eating their dinner way too late. So I personally like to have bulk of my protein in the morning, as much as I can get in, because I know that it's going to be digesting for majority of my day. And then when I'm ready to eat lunch, it's a later lunch. And I'll have, again, a high protein meal. But if I'm going out with friends and going to dinner or something, I usually will plan. I'll know that I need to eat a smaller meal and try and go a little earlier. But it kind of evens out later. I feel like those higher doses are what will do it to people. And then water, if I could just say it 50 times. The other thing about water is that it's on a cellular level, your prescription will work better. If you don't have enough water in your body, you're not even going to be able to lose the weight. So when people are over there like, oh, I haven't lost any weight, they'll message me, I've been in a plateau for 3 weeks. I'm like, how much water are you drinking? Probably not enough. And I'll say, double your water just this week and tell me how much weight you end up losing. And they'll be like, I lost 2 pounds. I lost 3 pounds. And it's crazy. People don't realize how powerful water is with helping your symptoms and also with helping you lose weight.
Is there a recommended amount of water that you're like, at least get this amount?
Yeah. I'm friends with an obesity doctor, and I asked her, I said, what do you tell your patients that you put on these GLP-1s? I said, how much water? Because I had always said 60 ounces a day. And she said a minimum of 60, you should be getting 80. And so if you just get those big tumblers, those
And
hydro
just
jugs,
fill them up.
I try and drink 3 and I'm really bad at it. Honestly, I'm over here like, drink water, everyone. And I'm still so bad at getting it all
on
in.
your soda.
Yeah. I actually cannot drink soda
It's
anymore.
just gross or what?
You guys, if I could, thinking back to the amount of soda I drank daily.
What kind of soda? What was your vice?
Oh, well, I still love energy drinks. So I will say, I know that that's soda, but like the big Quench It. I lived right next to a Quench It, and I would get their big energy drinks, the 44-ounce energy drinks, and I could literally drink 3 of them a day, like cake. No big deal.
Wow.
Just gone. And I order out of habit. I'll be like, I'll have a Diet Coke at dinner. I'll have 2 sips, and I'm like, this is disgusting.
It just tastes gross.
Oh, yeah. It's just so gross to me now.
Do you ever miss, like, I used to put down. Do you ever miss that? Because you're just so disciplined now.
Food was totally comfort. Totally. I think, yes, to a degree. I think those family meals, like family dinners, and you're like, oh, my mom's cooking, and just eat so much of it. I just can't eat it like that now. But I think my mind has shifted so much. I'm in such a different mindset and in different habits now that I don't really look at food like that anymore. I don't even want to sit and binge. And I used to at dinners. I remember being like, I want 3 things on the menu. And now I'm just like, I just want to eat, I don't know, a steak, like a little.
Eat enough to keep me going and to get my nutrients. But food is fuel now.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Food is fuel. And I'm so grateful for that part of this whole journey, because a lot of people, they'll say, so when you come off of it, you just have to change your habits. And it's like, well, not everyone's going to be able to just change their habits and come off of it. Sadly, that's the truth. A lot of people who have PCOS or insulin resistance, they will gain the weight back because you are taking a medication to regulate your body and you're regular on it. You can eat regular and have this normal life and feel like a normal person and have a normal brain. And if you come off of it, you'll go a little wacky again and you'll probably gain some weight. And a lot of people struggle with that. They're like, I'm going to come off and gain all my weight back. And yeah, if you have those metabolic issues, but not everyone does. Not everyone has that. And some people can come off of it and not gain any weight back. So it just really is dependent on where you're at. But that is a big part of it.
Did you have any bad side effects? I know people talk a lot about hair loss or things like that. Do you feel like you had any of those things or have suggestions on ways to combat those?
Yeah. So it is from rapid weight loss. It's not just from the medication. A lot of people who get gastric bypass or who experience that rapid weight loss will have hair loss. It's just a part of it. Even just being stressed out about planning a wedding, you can lose a ton of hair. So it just is dependent on your stress levels, but your hair kind of gets the back seat, sadly, when your body's going through such a big change. And it's hard. It's really hard for people who especially have fine, thin hair. They're like, I might be losing weight, but I'm bald now. But I did lose a lot of hair and I have thicker hair. And it's weird now because I feel like, oh my gosh, I have a little bit more thin hair now. But I started taking, have you guys heard of the copper peptide, GHKCU?
No, tell us everything.
The copper peptide is amazing. It helps with hair growth and skin wrinkles. And it's just basically like a peptide that will help you glow. It's just basically the beauty peptide. It's amazing.
Wow.
So I started taking that not long ago, and that has been amazing. And I feel like my hair has started to grow back. But when I did hit my goal weight and I weaned down back to like just a low maintenance dose, my hair stopped falling out, and then I could see that it was starting to grow back. So there is hope, and it will come back. It actually has a term. I'm not going to remember what it's called right now, but there's a term for it that when you do lose weight rapidly and lose hair, you shed hair, and then it will come back later.
So you're on week 5, 6, you've lost 15 pounds. And then what's the rest of the next year?
Well, I lost all of my weight in about 5 months.
Really?
Yeah. And again, that is not the case for everyone, but
How much weight total did you lose?
55 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was so fun. Like it just was such a new world of feeling happy in my skin again. I started to feel like me again, especially when I got to my weight that I was in high school, which I was even just like a heavier girl in high school for a high school girl. I remember standing on the scale and being like, I can't believe that this works so well. I'm back at my high school weight, and I have tried for years and years to get back to this. I couldn't even believe it. And my initial goal was just to lose 20 pounds. I was like, I just want to lose 20 pounds, get back to who I am somehow. So those months that I was losing, it was happening quick, and I was not working out the way I should have been. And that's definitely something that needs to be addressed, is that resistance training is so big, because you can lose muscle if you are just hanging out and not doing anything, and you're just on this journey losing weight. It will eventually dip into your lean muscle mass. That happens for any weight loss, even if it isn't with a GLP-1. When I was talking to my obesity doctor friend, she was saying it doesn't matter how much weight you're losing. You have extra muscle from carrying that weight around. So as you're losing the weight, you will lose a little bit of muscle because you're not carrying that extra weight around in your body. So when I lost my weight, I was like, look at these guns. I felt so shredded because I had a lot of muscle under there, but I was not keeping up with it the way I should have been. It felt so good though to finally go to the gym, and I felt like I was seeing progress, and I actually wanted to go and work out. Instead of trying to go and lose weight, I was going to tone up my body and feel better about myself and get those endorphins. And so that was a really fun thing to experience.
Are there any other little things that you have experienced, like wearing a tank top? I see you in your cute short sleeve tight shirt. Yeah. Those little things that people who have never been overweight don't understand.
Oh yeah.
Those tiny little wins. What are some of your tiny little wins?
I don't know if I would call this a win, but the day, I guess it is a win, because I always wanted to be able to see my collarbones. And I always thought that the beautiful collarbone of a woman, and I never had that.
Look at those collarbones. They're popping.
Oh, my collarbones. No, I always wanted, and when I saw my collarbones, I remember being like, I have arrived. I'm here. This was my actual goal. No, but yeah, wearing tank tops, I now feel so comfortable. I wear tube tops, and I just love, it is such a different world going from everything I bought was to hide myself and to just cover up whatever I could. And now I'm in this place of just like, oh, is that tight? That's fine. That'll show off my figure. I now have something I'm confident in, and it's
We're
really
like
fun.
Dressing because it's cute, not just because it's flattering.
Shopping because it's a cute outfit that I would have never bought before.
Yeah.
Or worn before.
Do you feel like now that you're on the other side and you have met your goal weight, were there ever times where, I want to say it's not the grass isn't greener on the other side, but once I have the perfect body, everything in my life will be perfect and everything will be amazing. And two, if you could go back and tell yourself what it's like on this side, are there any things that you're like, oh, this is different than I imagined it would be?
I like this question. I think I just thought it was going to be the answer to all my problems. My weight is what's keeping me back from everything. Really, I put a lot of blame on it.
Because for so long, it was so much of your identity. So that's probably a shift too.
100%. And it was actually a really weird shift having people notice it and comment on it. Because you want the comment that you're noticed that you've lost some weight, but then you're like,
was I really that bad before?
Did I look that bad? Like it's that noticeable? Like it just is such a weird, you're just weighing these things constantly, but I still have insecurities. They haven't gone away. I now have stretchy skin that I have to deal with. I feel like I've always had a flat butt, no matter what. It runs in my family. And I wouldn't even say I have Ozempic butt. I just have my family butt. And I feel like I'm just in this new world of, I need to really figure out my butt because I just don't have one now. But that has just been so minor. And honestly, I don't want to say, I just lived this horrible life before, but I had such bad thoughts about myself, and I never was confident in myself, that now on this side of it, like the grass is greener for me. I feel like I'm in such a better place mentally and just confidence wise, and it feels so much better that I'm so glad I didn't let myself stop. Truly, like when I get people telling me like, oh my gosh, I think I'm gonna quit, I'm like, no. You don't get it. Like, it's like right there, like just hold out. And like, of course there's like health issues. Like some people can't take these things, and those are just like very specific situations. But if you're doing all the things right, if you're working out, doing the protein and drinking the water. You will get to experience it. But to answer your question, I will say yes and no. The grass is greener, but I still obviously everyone has something that
it's made your life better, but maybe not perfect.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. It's really funny actually to hear my kids. They'll see a picture of me when I'm not pregnant. I was just heavy. And they're like, Mom, you were so pregnant. I hope they really only remember me as this because I was just so draggy then. It's just sad to look back on.
Do you just feel like yourself more? Are you just like, this is what was inside of me this whole time?
Yes. And it's funny. I remember I would get ready. We'd go on a date night back before I had lost my weight. I'd feel so cute. And then I'd go to the bathroom and catch myself in the mirror and I'd be like,
who is that?
That's what I look like right now? What? Because I was seeing this in my head because I've always known that I'm in here like this. And then I'd be like, wow, this is what I look like. It was just so hard. I remember as my sizes got bigger and bigger, I started buying 2X and 3X just to hide myself. I remember being like, well, I guess this is just what my husband signed up for. And he didn't even know it. I was constantly talking bad to myself. And now I'm in this place where I don't even think about those things. It's weird to shop and buy a smaller size, but I'm not worried. And even sitting, I was just so uncomfortable just sitting. I was always like aware of everything and I would be uncomfortable in my arms. And I remember I'd have coats on that would be tight and I'm like stiff in my coat because I just wanted to wear the cute coat that wasn't my size. And it's just not like that anymore. I just feel comfortable in my skin and it's just so nice. Yeah. It's freeing. Honestly.
When you look back at those pictures of yourself or see videos or think back to you 5 years ago, do you have a hard time giving yourself grace? Are you kind of like, why didn't you do this sooner? Or do you look back and want to give her a hug?
Oh, I want to give myself a hug. I think it's hard because this just hasn't been an option. You know, you had to have diabetes to get these medications. And I was pre-diabetic. I was right on the cusp of it, but I didn't qualify for that, but I didn't even know about it. And I think if there was just more knowledge in even coming from like my doctors who could talk to me about my PCOS and telling me it was an insulin resistant thing, because you can have a pretty extreme diet to help your insulin, but it is honestly not a natural way of living your life. It just is very difficult and heavy to live on such a strict schedule like that. And a lot of people call these medications a cop-out or a cheat. And it's like, no,
What are your thoughts on that? When people say you're taking the easy way out?
Well, to me, I literally want to just be like, yeah, I don't want to do the hard way of me trying to find my health. I did try it. I did try all of those things. And that's the part that's frustrating is people just think anyone's taking it now. And yeah, you could qualify for it and most people can get it, but most people have also tried other things. So it's not for lack of effort. And it does take effort to be on these. When people say that, I'm like, they obviously have never been on it because it's hard.
It's hard.
Not the easiest
And most people
way.
saying that haven't struggled with their weight so much.
Yeah.
If anyone knows how much of an impact it has on your life, you would take it. You would do just about anything to feel like yourself.
Oh, absolutely. I think a lot of people don't even realize the microdosing alone, just for inflammation and for perimenopause and menopausal women, it is changing everything for them. People aren't having hot flashes anymore. Like, why can't we use something to help regulate our hormones? Why are people making this seem like some bad thing when we are truly living such better lives because of it? And it's benefiting us so much. The inflammation alone and the studies that are coming out with like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, it is amazing. And I don't think you guys know this, but my husband actually has Parkinson's disease and he has been taking a low dose of it just for that because it helps with inflammation of the brain. And that has been amazing too for all of the people who have the older age and the menopausal women. They are loving it. It's really amazing.
So you got down to your goal weight. How did you know you wanted to start? Like, okay, now I'm going to wean off of a full dose and go to microdosing. You just had a weight in mind?
It was funny because I didn't know I was going to lose 55 pounds. Again, I started at 20. When I hit my 20 pound a month and a half in, I was like, I have more weight I can lose. So I kept going. And once I realized, I was like, okay, I think 140 for my height. I'm 5'9". I was like, if I'm 140, that's probably about where I'll stop. I hit that weight and I was on the highest dose for a month only. And then I immediately started to come back down. And it's not like that for everyone. Some people get to the highest dose. And I was on semaglutide at the time. They sometimes will have to be on the highest dose for a minute and then eventually wean back down. It's different for everyone. But I was on it for a month and then I did the exact program backwards. So every 4 weeks I went down and I wasn't losing. So because I had hit that weight and then I was just going down, I was just able to slowly introduce the normal living back because the food noise was so gone and my eating habits were so different when I was at the higher doses. You have to adjust back into a normal way of eating. And a lot of people are like, oh, the food noise is taking over. And now I just look at it as, yes, I want to say I think about food, but I don't obsess over food. It's such a different mindset than I used to be in. And I slowly got back down to that low dose. And that's just what I've been on ever since. I did take an 8-week break when I couldn't get my medication. And I was terrified. After the first couple of weeks, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to start gaining weight. And I was more strict with my diet. I was even more strict with my water. And I was working out way more during the 8 weeks. And I ended up gaining 20 pounds back. And I was like, it's okay. I know that I'm going to get back on this and it will be fine.
So you just couldn't get it?
I didn't get it. I was switching companies and it was taking longer. It was just a whole thing. And once I finally got it, I switched to Tirzepatide because everyone says that you feel better on Tirzepatide. And I'm so glad. I love Tirzepatide. It's so great. I was always a little bit nauseous on semaglutide and I'm not on Tirzepatide at all. But I ended up starting on just a low dose and I ended up dropping the weight. And man, it was like a month and a half. It came off really quick. It was like my body was like, oh, back to normal, back to the way it's been. And I've taken a few weeks breaks here and there, but I just like to stay on a low dose. It's the lowest dose. I'm currently taking 2.5 of Tirzepatide.
So how are your levels now? You talked about prediabetes and your hormones and all of those levels. Have you noticed a big improvement in your labs and general health from taking this?
Yes, everything is now in normal range. And it's crazy because I wish it could take away my hormonal side of my PCOS, like my facial hair. That would be really cool if that could go away, but mine hasn't. But as far as everything else, my periods are different. I have lighter periods and they don't last as long. And every other way from my labs, I'm not obese anymore and I have better A1C numbers. Everything is so much better.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So do you think you'll be on it forever?
Yeah, I do. It's just such a one-on-one personal decision first and also a metabolic place. I have insulin resistance. If someone has asthma, they're going to probably carry around an inhaler for the rest of their life and use an inhaler and they're not going to complain about it because it's helping them breathe, you know? And that's kind of how I feel about this. I don't look at this as this heavy weight that, oh man, I have to be on this medication forever. I am so grateful that I have this to help me live this normal life that I always wanted, to feel like my friends that could eat a plate of food and not have to devour it. They could eat just a little bit of it. And that's how I am now. I feel like I'm just a normal person.
What about the cost and the insurance aspect? Do you feel like eventually the insurance will cover it for other things?
Honestly, I don't know. I feel like insurance is really strict with how to get it through them. It's the worst. I wish it could be covered for more people because a lot of people can get it. And at the very, very beginning of it, people were getting it for $25 a month and it was amazing through their insurance. And now from the day that I started to lose that weight, I was like, I will do anything to budget this in because I just knew that I was going to be on it forever. And my husband, I remember he was just like, I don't want this to be another expense in our life. That's just so much money. And then when he saw my changes and my confidence and everything changed in my life, he was like, I will do anything to make sure that you get this because I know you're so much happier.
Now that you're on the microdose, is it still that cost every month or is it lower?
Yeah, the microdose through where I get it from, it's through LAMD. They do $299 for Tirzepatide and $229 for semaglutide.
And that's a month for the microdosing.
Yes. So that's 4 shots. It's $229.
Okay.
So it's a little bit cheaper than the full dose.
Yeah, the full dosing can go up even more because you're injecting a lot of medication. Some of the people who get to the higher doses, it can get a lot, but some people are paying outrageous, like $1,500 a month. Like I have people who message me and they're like, how can I get it at the price that you're getting it at? Because I'm paying so much. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Because now so many med spas and you can get it at a lot of different places now. I feel like
they up the price.
Probably charge a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people just don't know. They don't even know what they're taking. They will go to some of those places and they're just like, they pre-fill the syringe and they just give it to me and I just take it. I'm like, you don't even know what dose you're at. It's just wild. Yeah. So that's been nice about having it at home. I can just know what I'm doing and I have control of it.
Was there a point where you're like, I want to start sharing my journey, or were you sharing it during that time?
No, I was not sharing it. At this point, I had told my friends and family, but people were noticing on my Instagram and they'd be like, wow, you've lost a lot of weight. You look amazing. And when I had hit 50 pounds, I was like, that is such a large amount of weight. I feel like I should announce this. I was so excited about it. And I went onto my Instagram story and I had said, hey, everyone, I just have to say I've started semaglutide. And if you have questions, let me know. I've lost 50 pounds. And I had floods of questions coming in. And I was like, holy crap. Tons of people who were like, I'm on it too. Oh my gosh, I was wondering if you were on it. And then tons of people who were like, I wanted to start it. And then lots of questions about how to get it. And so that was kind of when I knew a friend who had started talking about it, and she was an affiliate for a company. So then I was an affiliate for them for a while. And then I transitioned to the company I'm with now, and I help other people also share and earn money that way, which it's completely changed our life. Sharing my journey. My husband's now a stay-at-home dad.
Wow.
Yeah, I quadrupled his income by sharing this. And
talk about making room in the budget for it.
Yeah, yes.
Like,
yeah.
This is actually going to make us a lot of money.
And that's actually one of the things that's really nice too, is that when someone's like, oh my gosh, this is so expensive. I'm like, well, if you share your journey and you go talk about it online, you get 5 people to purchase from you, it'll eventually pay for itself. And so that's an easy way to get people to get it for themselves, because they can go and talk about it. But there's a lot of sharing going on now. I feel like there's so many people out there, and it's amazing to hear all the different stories too. So yeah, that financially, it also changed my life. That's a whole other part of this that was so life-changing, that I remember the day I hit the amount of money my husband had been making. He was like, what's happening? How is this happening? I was like, I don't even know. And I was sharing on TikTok first. I'd grown a decent following there, and then I got banned for talking about my weight loss, and I was just broken.
So they just delete your account, or what?
It was just deleted. It was just gone. And all the other GLP1 accounts that had started were still up and running. And I was like, why me? It was just similar content. And so I was actually really sad about that, because I mean, it was my income. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to turn to Instagram and kind of just start sharing there. And that was where it all really started. And at the same time, when I'd lost my account, I shifted to LEMD, to a new company. So I started with LEMD and then started fresh on Instagram. So it was just like,
is there a reason why you went to a new company?
Yeah, the other company I was with at the time, they didn't have great customer service. My DMs were just flooded with customer service problems. And I'm like, I'm not an employee. I am an affiliate. And so I was feeling like I was turning into an employee. But then I had just been contacted by them at LEMD, and I just love it there so much. They're amazing.
How did you even learn that you could be an affiliate from, okay, a lot of people are interested in this. I didn't even know that was a thing, that you could become an affiliate and have people purchase from you and all of those things.
Yeah. So I had already been looking into affiliate marketing in general. Like I wanted to make money online. I had started that maybe 6 months before I started sharing about this.
Okay.
So I was trying to make money online other ways, because I wanted to quit doing hair. And then my friend who was selling with that other company, she was like, yeah, I'm an affiliate for them. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And I actually didn't know that I could be an affiliate for them, because I thought I had to purchase the product from them. But then once I started sharing, they were like, no, you're fine. You can share a code. So that was how I started in it. And then with LEMD, they're more of a team. It's funny because people are like, it's an MLM. And it is, but it isn't. Like a true MLM has like, you have to hit these numbers, you have to buy from us, you have to have all these requirements. But it's not. You can just be an affiliate for them and just sell and have a link and talk about your journey. or you can team build. And I accidentally built a team. People were just like, I want to do what you're doing. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I guess I'm building this team. And so now I help other people make money. And I didn't know that that's a whole different side that I'm so passionate about now, is like helping other people earn an income from this, because it changed my life. And then I have a friend who she was like, I need anything. I just need to make $1,000. Like, and I was like, done. Like, let's do it. Her first month, she made $950. And the next month she was at $3,500, and it just has kept going up. And so it's life-changing, like just talking about it in general.
And you're helping change people's lives.
Yes.
Giving them confidence and helping them change their life by their appearance and health. And then financial too. It's probably so fulfilling.
It is. It's also hard because people will be like, oh, you're just trying to like make money off of this. And I'm like, well, yeah, I guess technically it's my income now. But at the same time, the amount of people who are like, you've changed my life. I have lost 70 pounds because you shared your story. That is why I keep going. Sure, the money comes, but it is so life-changing. And the friendships I've made.
And you're amazing. Selling a product that you're clearly passionate about.
Yeah, I love it.
It's like, this changed my life. Even if I wasn't making any money, I'd want everyone to know about this so they could feel the way I feel.
That was why I started talking about it. I wanted to just get it out there when I was like, you know what, 50 pounds is a big deal. People need to hear about this. It's so life-changing.
Do you have a next step? Do you have a goal moving forward?
Yeah, I feel like I've been kind of stuck in this. What am I doing? I have my team. I'm helping my team, and I share my journey online. Is this forever? And it actually was recently this week, I have wanted to start coaching people who are on their journey, because I am living in my DMs with all these people who are asking me, like, I am obviously not a doctor and I don't answer medical questions, but like I can give my experience and I can give advice on how to make their journey a little bit better. And so I think my next step is that I'm going to be introducing the coaching program, and I'm going to be getting that up and running eventually. And so that's really exciting, because then not only I have the source, like you can get it from here, but let's figure out how to actually make it work the right way, because people just feel really clueless. They start and they're like, what do I do? Yeah. I'm just injecting myself. I need to drink water. It's so crazy.
You're providing them with the support that you didn't have.
I really want it to be a community and a group coaching where people can come on and ask all the questions and get advice from everyone. And I'll be there to guide it. And then if they want to do a one-on-one, they can.
Wow, that's really exciting.
I know. I'm so excited about it.
Well, Karli, thank you so much for coming on. Was there anything else that you wanted to chat about, or anything you would want people to know about your story or GLP-1s?
I think if anything for someone to take from this, your worth isn't in your body weight. And I think that's what a lot of us tell ourselves, because that's what I told myself for so long. And even though losing my weight really helped me feel more like myself and feel better, I know that there are people who can't afford this. And I know that there are people who probably won't ever be able to take it. And that's okay. There are other options. And I think that just moving forward, if you do need to be on it for the rest of your life, and if you don't want to be on it for the rest of your life, any decisions you make are your own. I think that was a really hard thing for me in the beginning, was that I wanted to do it, but I felt like I was going against society of what was normal. And honestly, this is normal, and it is okay to need something like this. And I just worry that a lot of people shame themselves for it. And there's just no reason for that, because it can make you feel better. And then if you can't get it, just know that there are other options.
Are you happy that the stigma is lifting a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. And I think the stigma is just a lack of education. If people really dug into how amazing these peptides are and stacking other peptides like NAD and glutathione and all those other peptides that you can take with this together, wow, we're all going to be living to be 100, because we are going to just have these amazing healthy bodies for the longevity of our lives. It's going to be so great. Yes, to answer that, definitely happy. It's going to eventually level out.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to get started with a GLP-1, doesn't know where to go, obviously we want to put where they can follow you to get in touch with your company. What would you recommend for steps? If someone's interested, could they just DM you, or just go to your profile and find a link and then go to a website? Or what's a good way if someone's listening to this right now and was like, wait, I'm in?
Yeah. So for both sides of it, whether if someone wants to share their journey or start it, I have links in my profile just through my bio link. It's really easy. There's just a health assessment and you fill out the whole health assessment. It's sent into a medical provider, a doctor, and each state has their own doctors that go over that. And then once you're approved, it's sent to the pharmacy and then they ship it out to you with all the instructions on how to do it, your dosing. If you're doing the weight loss one, you get like a measuring tape, you get a journal, you get like a cute little booklet on how to do all of it, how to do your injections. And it's just very straightforward, simple, easy. It's very private also. I think a lot of people don't want to go into their doctor and be like, I want to do the semaglutide and tirzepatide.
Pitch to your doctor that you should be a candidate for this or something.
And that I was terrified to go talk to my doctor and he didn't help me very much. And that's the other thing is that at LEMD, they're specialists in this. And so they can answer all of those questions. To start as a brand partner, if someone like wanted to do that, they can also find that in my bio link or just DM me.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So much, Karli. We had the best time.
It was so great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
And we will talk to you guys next week.
Okay, love you. Bye.